Welcome to part 3 of my Passport to Pretty October workshop holiday video. I wanted to show you how to make this very simple card. It's beautiful and easy to do. It's also going to go with the bonus tutorial envelope that I'm going to make in the last portion of this video series. But now you can see how nice they look together. It's the Deck the Halls Designer Series paper from Stampin' Up! And I absolutely love it. But you're going to see pretty soon in the next video how to make that coordinating envelope. I also wanted to point out to you that this is using the Peaceful Season stamp set. It's available in both clear mount and wood mount. It is only available if you host an online virtual workshop with me. So if you're interested, please email me. I can give you the details. There's nothing easier than hosting an online virtual workshop. Even the invitations are done online, and I'm here to help. So let's get started with this card. The card base started out as 7 by 5 inches wide. I have already scored it, as you can see here, and as I showed on a previous video, I fold it with the ridge to the inside. Next, I'm going to use this pretty piece of Deck the Halls Designer Series paper, and I am going to use our eyelet border punch to create a lovely little cherry cobbler border. I'm going to start it right here. I happen to know that this fits just perfectly within these little scallops, but if you don't know that, you can always start right in the middle and then work left and right so that you can start with the size cardstock you need and you can cut it off where you want it. Just watch and see. On this particular border, which is 5 inches wide, it works out just perfectly. This is the old style of punch, but the new style is honestly probably a little easier to use and more stackable, but I'm perfectly happy with the original, so that's how I roll. I got one tiny little piece here. And all those little guys, little tiny dots that create that beautiful design, get to go to the side. But do you see how this ended up so that you don't have one side that's cut off and even? Just, I want you to know that this is a 5 inch. It works out perfectly for a 5 inch. But if you don't know if it's going to work out perfectly, start with the middle of the punch and work out. And each side will end up even. So just a little tip for you. Then I'm going to take some snail, and you can see I actually tried this once before, so ignore that. Sometimes it takes more than one take to make these videos work. And I am going to layer this designer paper on top. And so now we've got this pretty little border. And I am going to add some additional snail here. And layer it on top of my card. So you'll see this is very much like a live tutorial. I'm going to have all my imperfections thrown right in here too, but occasionally, like where you saw with that little imperfection on the designer paper, I had to disassemble something and try it again. So we all live and learn, right? So that's the basis and foundation of our card. Next, I'm going to take a piece of crumb cake cardstock and one of the stamps from Peaceful Season. It's a beautiful holly, and craft Whisper White. Whisper White is only available in craft. I prefer the white craft over very vanilla. It's a little thicker and a little more opaque. And I'm just going to create this soft and pretty little pattern on the background that when I layer the early espresso ink on it, will show right through. I'm going to flip it around just for a little variety. It always makes sense to stamp off the side a little bit. It just keeps things even. And I am just going to put a little tiny tail right there. Okay, so I think that looks authentic. Hopefully you do too. Next, I'm going to take the larger sentiment. That's one of the things I love about this stamp set, is they have such pretty sentiments. A nice, big, bold, requires a little less work on your part, and some early espresso. Again, as I showed you before, one of the ways to make sure you've got things lined up is to use a piece of grid paper. So now I know that that is lined up. And then off to the side here, I am inking up the stamp with some early espresso ink. I'm going to bring it over and I am going to center it. One of the things that is so delightful about clear is I can just do this in one little action. And it looks good to me, so I'm happy with that. Then I'm going to attach this to a piece of early espresso cardstock. All the sizes are on my workshop post, so you can get that information there. And I love a little pop of dimension. And if you haven't seen this little trick, if you just punch it with your fingernail, you'll get an edge that pops up easily for you. Of course, as I say that, this one gives me trouble. Pop it, and pop it. There, good, those worked. And I'm going to center this on this piece of early espresso cardstock. All right. Then I'm going to use this last little trick to show you, and I've shown it on my video on my regular blog in a video, 1 minute to wow video. I'm going to grab my Regal's buttons, and they have a matching cherry cobbler which goes with the Deck the Halls designer paper, and some early espresso 1/4 inch taffeta ribbon, and my craft and paper scissors, which are my favorite for cutting ribbon. You're going to hear that over and over. And I'm going to cut a very sharp point. The only reason I want that sharp point is so that it's easy to thread through. Then I'm going to start from the top. I'm not cutting it off of here. I can conserve ribbon by leaving this uncut and cutting it when I know exactly how much I need. So I'm going to thread it through. This ribbon is so great for buttons. And I'm going to pull it through again. And it's important to note that you do not have to worry about this fraying. We're going to be cutting that off at the end. So see, I ended up not using as much ribbon as you might normally think because I left that right on there. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit, pull a little bit. Then I'm going to lie it flat. This is the top of it. And I'm going to lie it flat, and just like I do a normal knot, I'm going to bring it around and under. I'm going to hold it down. I'm going to pull with one side and then pull both at the end. I get a more square knot out of it that way rather than something with sort of a blob hanging over the side. And I'm going to trim a little bit on an angle. I tend to like to. And one of my no-fail ways to attach a button, I shouldn't say no-fail, but I've never had one fail, would be to use mini glue dots. And I do a couple of them for a button just to make sure I have a good insurance policy there and that it's going to work. And I'm going to tuck that right in the corner as a cute little accent. Oh, I'm so into this. I love this look of that button with that ribbon pulled through, and we have so many colors to offer. Last step here is just going to be putting in, layering this on the top. Now that was a simple card, and it looks far more involved than it truly was, and you know now just how little time it takes to create this card. One of my favorite things about this card, honestly, is that see-through look of the white holly leaves and then the greeting hanging over it. So they look pretty similar. I hope you enjoyed this part of our Passport to Pretty. And please email me if you have any questions or leave me a comment at the end of the post. I would love to hear what you think. Hope you've learned something new. Thank you.